Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this week's episode of the Small Business Surgeon Podcast. And guys, today's guest is a special treat for you guys. He is a gentleman I became friends with on The Blocks, which was a television show we filmed over the last summer in Tulsa. He is the host of the Whiskerman's podcast and the founder of Whiskerman, a premium beard and mustache product line. And he has a lot of stories to tell us. Please welcome to the show, John Mateki. John, welcome.
Hey Sam, thanks so much for having me, man. It's a privilege to be on here with you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're here. So, how's life been for you since the blocks, dude? How's it been going?
A lot of information in, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Did a couple of things overhaul, and just try to get traction was the biggest thing. And we're just started year 3, so it's been blowing up so far. And if it continues, we'll be on a nice trajectory. Then when our season finally drops, then I think things are really gonna.
I think a lot of us have been putting stuff in place for when the show comes out, man. How did you like it? Because for me, it was a very, very stressful experience. Did you find it that way?
Yeah, so I kind of went into it knowing there's only going to be 3 winners. So shooting for that was kind of a high bar. So I just went in, tried to absorb knowledge and network. That was kind of my 2 things of gain some knowledge and expand the network. Little did I know, once we got into the actual blocks group of previous seasons, that network like exploded.
Dude, the network's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a stressful lot of a lot of information to retain in a short period of time. But it was amazing. It was an incredible, event to be part of. Met some great people like yourself, and that blocks community is just it's almost like a cult in there. It's crazy.
It's more like a culture. More like a culture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I had no idea they existed, before it was Nina that turned me onto the show, and I had no idea that the blocks existed. And I think it's one of the best incubator groups for small businesses I've ever found. I would highly recommend guys go check the blocks out. But before we get too deep into the blocks, John, let's go back to the subject at hand, and let's talk about you and your journey. Tell me how you became an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so this is kind of a weird story. So I did 20 years in the military. When I took the uniform off, I walked into helping small businesses. So folks that are working on widgets and gadgets for our military first responders.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at those guys, and I'm seeing their success, and I'm like, well, what separates them from me? And then I saw I need to better myself. That's always, I think we all strive to get better.
Right.
So
Right.
while I was helping these folks, I'm like, how can I help them by helping myself? So I took advantage of my military service and then went to college. So I got my master's in entrepreneurship.
Oh,
Then
wow.
I got my master's, my MBA. Then I got my master's in management. And at that point, I'm like, man, I know a lot. I'm helping these folks. These folks are getting government contracts to the tune of my ROI was close to $1 billion. So I'm like,
Wow.
what? I want to do this. That was always, I need to do this. So if you fast forward or rewind, depending on perspective, November 21, we're kind of in COVID, things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Our contract runs up and lose my job.
Oh,
So
wow.
for the first time in my adult life, and I use the word adult sparingly because it's not, I'm unemployed. So I'm looking at, I'm sitting here looking at what can I fall back on? I'm not going back in the military. It wasn't an option. So Whiskerman came about and dove in and said, you know what? I got a beard. I got a business background. Let's go with this and see what we can do. Sometimes you just got to walk out on faith and see if it matches or you fall. And then if you fall forward and learn something.
Were you like anxious to grow a beard the minute you got out of the military? Because most of the guys I know that are military, the minute they get out, they're like, just, I'm done. I'm growing it out.
So for 20 years, except on your days off, you're shaving. And if you have even a 5 o'clock shadow, you're going to get in trouble.
Right.
So, and things have changed now. Now it's more acceptable to have some facial hair, but every day you're putting a razor to your face. So it gets old. So once you're done, you're like, nope, I'm not going. I'm not getting a haircut. I'm not shaving. And mine grew over time, but the wife never liked it because I wasn't using anything. So it was always, like a Brillo pad.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and then but that is why that was the primary reason for growing it was just rebelling. You maybe told me 20 years I couldn't have it, so now I can, and I'm just going to grow it and fell in love with it.
Man, whenever I grow mine out, it always I get frustrated with the amount of time it takes to keep up and keep it looking good. So I know there's definitely a market for products that help with that. How did you? I mean, you just said Whiskerman just came about, but it must have been a little bit more than that. Tell me the story of its inception and how you came up with the products and the idea to get into helping men.
Yeah, so a little white lie, not necessarily 100%. I didn't create Whiskerman from the ground.
Hmm.
Two gentlemen were toying with this, and I wouldn't necessarily say that they were running it as a business. It was more of a hobby,
Hmm.
selling to friends and in bars and stuff like that. They couldn't take it any further, so they were trying to offload it. And it just so happened that it coincided like 2 weeks after I lost my job. So
Right.
we bought it out and took the formula. Um, we took a good idea and made it great. Um, and when I say we, my wife is more of the business. She just can't grow a beard as good as mine. Right now, she can't grow a beard at all. But with her expertise and knowledge and her, I guess it's palate. I don't know if smells is part of the
Right.
palate.
Right.
He can create some of the most amazing scents, and just has this thought process of most people don't realize with the base oils that go in, it's just like motor oil. You can
Right.
go
Right.
to Walmart, get $3.50 cheap stuff, and your car will do what your car does. It's not going to run any better, but over time, it's probably going to break down. Or you can get the expensive stuff. So she found out that if we go with higher quality, the product is better. It's
Hmm.
less oily. So we were tooling with that, and it was really you know a blessing. There's very few that came out of COVID, but
Yeah.
as beards were like the thing. Everyone's like, I'm not shaving. I'm not putting on clothes. I'm gonna just live in my pajamas. So we took the fact that folks grew beards over that time, and most men don't know how to take care of it. So we're like, there's a spot in the market for us. So we just went in and just ran. Every weekend for that first year, we were somewhere doing something.
So what was
Um,
your like how did you start up the business then? Was it trade shows? Was
yep.
it
So when we got it, there was an e-commerce platform.
mhm.
Um, but the selling this product online is really tough because there's an educational piece.
Right,
And then
right.
a smell, you know, Elon's got to come about and figure out how to do a scratch and sniff online. That would be corner of the market. If anyone can figure that out, it'd be amazing. Have
He
a scent vision or whatever.
he could have a cologne and call it Elon's Musk.
Yeah, and then you just scratch the screen and you smell it would be amazing. So
No,
we knew
I'm out on that idea.
we knew that you're going to have to do some education. So we started small. We tried everything and anything. So we went to our local market down here in Dayton and set up our booth and kind of got our word out. Sales were just kind of enough to cover fees, but we're handing out business cards um, like they're candy. So that helped gain attraction. We'd go to if a church was doing a bazaar or something, we'd go there uh, to find out where our customer was, and then big festivals is where we landed. So we figured out the larger the crowd, obviously low averages, you're going to sell more product. So we're going to things like Irish Fest, Celtic Fest, things that would kind of say beards.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where we clawed the first year. I think of the 52 the 52 weekends, I think we were out for 49, maybe even
Oh
50 some
wow! So you're selling this stuff one on one to the consumer, like you're selling it. You're the guy right there in the trailer.
bottle by bottle, just hey, smell this. Okay. And so that was year one, clawing. I mean, it was a battle. You had to educate them, and then there's so many. If you look beard companies, there's so many out there.
Hmm.
And trying to distinguish why I'm new in town and I'm better than everybody else. So you had all of this to get going, and it was a slugfest. Year one was brutal, and then I can see why so many businesses quit after the first year of
Right,
business.
right. What
Punched.
happened in year one?
Year one was really a lot of grunt work of being out, literally having to go and persuade hard sales
Right,
of
right.
it's in why you, why your product,
Hmm.
and then still having to say, just take a chance on me. So it was tough. Year one was really tough. Trying to get the website the way you want it,
Right.
trying to get sales from in person to the website, letting people know that it's there, trying to figure out all the social media stuff. Having this gray in the beard's not because it looks cool, because I'm older. I don't understand. Someone who's in their 20s, but figuring all of that out. And then really, this is something that we hadn't done prior in our life. So running a business and then looking at all the hiccups and
Hmm.
stuff. So see, year one was, year one going to be the worst it's going to be.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I mean, I want you to think about the listener here and the listener that's in 6 months in or year one in and is standing now where you were 2, 3 years ago and is going through the same things. What would you say that the most important takeaway from your first year in business and clawing that business up from the ground up? What would you say your most important takeaway was?
if you believe in yourself, you can do it. Right. So that was kind of the thing of my wife believed in me 100%. I believed in her. So this was something, and we just went after it. It was the belief
Yeah.
of just we've got a good product. We knew we had a good product to stand on. Let's just keep going forward. We're going to do what it takes, and it's going to be, so that belief in yourself and not giving up. Right. Most businesses will fold within like the first 6 months because it's not easy. It's not for everybody.
It's not. No.
Just keep going. Someone puts a brick wall in, you can either get a hammer out and knock that wall down, climb over it, go around it, but some way you've got to get on the other side of that wall. Whatever it takes to get on that other side of the wall, you do it, and that's how you become a successful business.
Amen. That's something that I think a lot of people miss out on these days. They miss out on the fact because there's so many influencers posting on the internet, all rented goodies, all made up stories about how they press this magic button and money just comes out. And I think most people they don't understand that first year really is that's your learning curve, that's your experience, and that's the price of entry, just that hard work.
Right. I mean, it's just like when you started this podcast, you didn't just magically put it out and thousands of people,
No.
you know, it's growth. One person hears it, tells their friend, then
Hmm.
then they tell a friend, and it just grows. I think a lot of people in our microwave society, a lot of people do think that you just start a business up, and next thing you know, you're a millionaire. They
Yeah.
they don't that pain in those late hours and not being home, missing events and stuff.
Dude, that's exactly why we do the show. It's so everybody can learn that they are normal and this is a process, and it comes out all right in the end. Dude, tell me about the second year.
Yeah.
When did you start to notice that uptick and you say, hey, you know what? Maybe this belief's starting to pay off.
So in the second year, we kind of narrowed down which events we wanted to do. And then when we started getting emails of, hey, I was at the local market and you weren't there, that's when you start seeing, okay, you've got a customer base. They kind of are aware of where you normally are. And then it's still a little bit clawing, but less. We might have dropped down to maybe 30-ish events. So not a massive decrease, but we're looking at bigger events, longer hours.
Right,
So it's
right.
same time out in front of the customer. Um, and as you're going through it, you're not realizing, hey, I'm getting traction. It's when you're closing the books out for the year and you go, wait a minute, every positive metric that we have doubled or more. And then you go, okay, if I could do this again in year three, double it again, I'm going to be sitting pretty. So if I can continue to double by year five, it's going to turn into a self-licking ice cream cone.
I've never heard that expression before. A self-licking ice cream cone. Okay,
That's a I think a lot of people want that. And what I think of as a self-licking ice cream cone is something where you get it and it does its thing, right? So the ice cream sitting on top of it and it's just eating itself. You don't have to do anything. Or mailbox money. You sit back and that check just hits the account
right.
every it's there.
See, I immediately went into the adult store when you said self-licking ice cream cone. I figured there'd be a female market for it at least, you know. But
Yeah.
that's
No, we gotta figure that one out though.
that's probably a different podcast, mate.
Absolutely.
So you just started a podcast, didn't you?
I did just I just published the fourth episode. We're educating folks on most men, and I'm talking to myself, not anyone else. I didn't know all the intricacies of taking care of your beard. So there's a lot that goes into it. Like you said, you said it earlier. Before I came on, I gotta straighten it.
Mhm.
I gotta put my oil on. I had to brush it right before we hit record. There's a lot, and mine's not magnificent. You could spend more hours and have it trimmed up and look like um, uh, brain dump. I love getting old. Look like had that nice Kratos shaped up beard, but that's a lot of work. So mine's kind of mid-level work, and just there's a lot to it. Just getting it to look good. So I wanted to put that out of how can I educate and entertain at the same time? How can I make it to where you're watching a video podcast and not realize that you're actually learning something? So it's really good. And then, trying to do similar to what you're doing here of getting other businesses out of looking at what they have to offer. So I think there's so many people that don't realize what's out there. And there's so many great businesses that you go, wow, I want to use their services or I want to buy their product or whatever it is.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where the podcast Beards from Businesses came from. And our audience base is amazing. We literally just did an event, a beer fest,
Hmm.
drunk people, and I increased by 60 viewers just over the weekend.
That's how to do it, dude. Like one step at a time, small steps daily. People see that, 10,000 downloads or whatever, but they don't see the work that goes into getting it there. So it's very very good, and you got to stay consistent. Now, I was wondering, John, like, because I was looking just then. You saw me looking on my phone. I was looking for a picture of myself with a longer beard, and I couldn't find it. About the longest I've grown mine out's about that long, about what's that, about 2.5 inches. And I was just wondering, dude. Number one, how long will a beard actually grow? And number two, how long does it take to make a mustache that does a little twisty thing in the end?
So there's I'll answer the second one first.
Okay.
So you can cheat and take from here. So like
Oh,
if I
look at
put
that.
more like here, I can make it
You've
bigger.
got,
Now,
wow. Okay.
if you go straight mustache, you can see there's a little bit. But if I sneak some hair from here,
Well,
I
look at
can get
that.
crazy.
Huh.
So it's all optical illusions on how you do it. Now your beard can grow long enough. The man with the longest beard ever actually died from it. And
What?
the reason he died from it was so long he actually stepped on it and snapped his own neck and instantly killed himself. It's
That's got to go in a folder of the dumbest ways to die.
yep.
It has to be in there.
I can't remember the exact length, but he basically was Rapunzel. He was the male version of Rapunzel. Just had it and just kept growing, never cut it. Um, most people, if you take care of it, it can grow unlimited. But if you're just growing it and not feeding it, eventually, it's just like the hair on your head. It's gonna start falling out. It's gonna get split ends and stuff. So you can get it. I've seen guys all the way down to their bellies. Um, it makes it hard to eat soup.
Yeah, it seems to be like a diminishing point of returns on it somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if it gets too long, I mean, so one of the things as you can see, I love our logo. So when
Mm.
I wear our t-shirts, if my beard gets too long, you're not gonna be able to see the logo. So if I go too much longer, got probably another inch or two. I start covering up my name, my logo, that's got to go.
Well,
Brand's
no, what you should do is just wear glasses and then dye whisker men into your mustache, and you could just be your logo. You've got to think bigger here, John.
I do. I got what's name. I got to get a stencil and just get Whiskerman right across. I don't know if I could get it in the beard or in the mustache, but if I go across the beard, I could be a walking billboard.
So, dude, I mean, this is great and all. Tell me about your plans for the future now that you've been maybe reignited with a little bit of business since doing the show and getting all those pointers and those pretty awesome lessons. What did it spark off in you for the future?
Yeah, so I think that's part of one of the big things we've got is what's how do you lean forward? How do you prepare for year five? How can you look at what's the exit strategy?
Are you gonna
So
are you gonna build it and sell it?
so I think
You know?
right now, today, I love it so much that I would never outright sell it.
Hmm.
Because it is such an amazing brand and it's such a great product. So my vision is to have territories. So specifically veteran, because of my ties to the military, of having a veteran in each state run their own franchise type market.
Okay.
So I'm out doing all these events in Ohio and Pennsylvania area. They take over Texas,
Right. Right.
over California.
You'd
So
probably
have
sell some products at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. You know.
absolutely. So I can't be everywhere at once.
Right.
So
Right.
someone who goes there, represents the brand, is making money, and then in turn, we're making money. So it's a win-win for everybody. And then we just explode. So kind of doing like a franchise-ish is the next big step. Um, and then to keep things, I'll probably always maintain some of it. My next vision that just came about in the last couple of weeks is a high-end barber shop of
Hmm.
getting barbers to rent the chair that are specifically beard connoisseurs that will do the crazy shape ups and stuff, but also can give you a high-end haircut and have this elaborate VIP style waiting room to where we've got, bourbon, whiskey, cigars. You just sit while you're waiting for your chair to open up. You don't even realize you're waiting. You're sitting there watching sports, smoking a cigar, drinking. I think doing something like that of a high-end VIP type barber shop would get folks that would like, hey, I'm coming every month just to come sit upstairs in your VIP lounge, smoke cigars and enjoy bourbon and stuff.
Get that. I get my hair cut at my beard trimmed at a place called House of Beards, and they've got a similar setup, but instead of high end luxury, it's based more around blue collar luxury. So they have a couple of recliners there. They have a row of alcohol there, whiskeys, and then they have a lady that gives the neck and shoulder massages there as well. It's while you're waiting for the haircut. Now I don't drink, but if I did, I'd be sure and take advantage of that. So you're probably onto
Funny,
something.
that's what we have in common. We talked about this on the show. I don't drink it either, but trying to you got to be inclusive even in things. So I think that's really I'm always looking for what's next.
Right, right.
What's coming so far, and then I'll still tie into it, but have folks do more of that legwork to where I can be more of a CEO and just sit back and be like, yep, checks are coming in. But you always have to look at how can I improve upon this? Because if you sit back and just, hey, I'm happy where I'm at now. But if I don't try to move that ball forward, we're not going anywhere. We're just gonna sit where we're at. We're never gonna grow. We'll never have expansion. So always looking at what's the next thing that we can put in the hopper to push out and become bigger and better.
That's what you tell yourself. I personally believe that it's a really good ploy to get a really nice place to hang out, smoke cigars, and hang out with a bunch of like-minded guys. I think we roll that way.
Absolutely. Yep, that would be
Yeah,
that's part of it.
like man, I'd love my own private little cigar lounge. But I don't think it's one I could make money on. But man, when you add beards and haircut into that, you might be onto something, John.
Yeah, and that's something that like we got from the blocks. I think the biggest thing that I got from the blocks was the network.
Hmm.
I'm actually part of a networking group here in Ohio, to where every Wednesday business folks come to the cigar shop, and part of that is kind of that model of you buy your cigars there, you have access to food, alcohol, whatever you want. But then there's a VIP upstairs that you can sit. I can go any time of the day. 12 o'clock at night, I want to go smoke a cigar. I can go put my coat in upstairs, sit there, watch TV, be alone, and smoke a cigar. So it's
Yeah,
really, having that network, I think, is really massive. And it's such a cool. And then sitting smoking a cigar is just so cool. I literally have one sitting right next to me.
I'm not allowed to smoke in the house.
I'm not smoking in the house neither. Let's not put that out over the airways because you won't see me again. She'll choke me with my own beard.
That would be interesting to watch. Yeah, that would be.
So it's happened when I go to jujitsu. This thing gets chewed on and pulled and everything else.
Man, tell me about jujitsu. How'd you get into that? How long you been doing jujitsu, man?
Yeah, so part of it is, as that little bit of period between when I lost my job and started this, you start questioning yourself, right?
Hmm.
Of why am I not employed anymore? I must have done something. And then you had all the demons and stuff from military career. I wasn't in the best mental place. Um, so I was looking for sometimes you just need a good ass whooping, right? To just reset things.
Yeah, yeah.
My son was doing it. So it's like, why not? Let's make it a father-son thing. Got into it, and it's a great sport to learn, and it's just a good reset of, I'll be going tonight and I'll get my ass kicked and get twisted 7 ways from Sunday and go, yep, let's do it again tomorrow. And it's just such a great sport because you're not running, you're not doing high impact stuff, and it's applicable. I mean, with the way the world's going today, you need to be able to defend yourself. So not only do I know it, but my son, who's actually better than me, I hate to say that, if anything ever happens, I clearly know that if he goes after an attacker, he's going to win. I'd be able to protect the wife, or vice versa. So it's really a great sport, and it's more of just learning the art. It's such a mental reset aspect of life that's just I think it's a humbling experience.
Hmm. Yeah, and at the same time, I think it can be an empowering experience as well. The humbling experience comes when you're first learning and the guy's laying on you, choking you out, and you're like, well, what the fuck? I'm 6'4". I can bench press multiple plates. I should be able to beat this guy up. And there's some little guy choking you. And I think the other side of jiu-jitsu is allowing that masculinity out and allowing that testosterone out and testing yourself and actually, I can choke this guy out, I can put this guy to sleep, and then he's tapping me. And so I think jiu-jitsu, it works both ways. I think it's very humbling and very, very empowering at the same time. I like to talk about it. I only stopped doing it because I got tired of waking up hurting. I spent I spent nearly 8 years, 9 years almost doing MMA and training that route. I was one of the early adopters of it, and one day I just said, you know what, I've had enough of waking up with broken ribs, and I do miss jujitsu though. I'll talk about it any opportunity.
Wow, where'd that bruise come from? And you're like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, and at 37, I was getting ready for a fight. I still had never had a fight. I'd signed for 4 different fights, and 3 of them my opponent got injured, and then I was 9 days out, and I broke this bone right here in my face. So that was the end of my not so illustrious MMA career. But I still miss it, dude.
Yeah, I couldn't do the striking. You hit me, I'm probably gonna cry and curl up into a ball.
Yeah, striking was the fun part. You see that knuckle there where I broke it on my buddy's face. Striking was the fun bit. I've never been in an uncontrolled fight ever. Never in a bar, never in public, never done it. But boy, I sparred and I fought for years, and I loved it. It was one of the most empowering things I ever did. So, but anyway, this isn't the Sam show. This is the John show. It's the John interview today. Or on the show, but if I did, it would be to tell you about the systems and processes I use for running businesses online, which you can find in our Facebook group over at FollowSam.live. All right, back to the interview. I'm going to start asking you some questions that I ask most of our guests, and the point of the show is to help entrepreneurs that are coming up and going through some of the things that you went through. So I want to ask you, what are some good books or resources that you read along your journey that really resonated and made an impact with you?
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you asked that because that's really something that my wife and I are diving into right now. What a lot of people don't realize is if you go to your local library, you can get a digital library card that gives you access to audios and all kinds of things just on your phone. So we've been taking advantage of that. And what we just listened to yesterday is The Energy Bus by John Gordon. It's an amazing book. Um, it's really just a way of get rid of the negative and look at the positive. And I think that's very key, especially when you're starting out. Of Yeah, there's going to be a lot of negativity. There's going to be a lot of things that you can look at that those bills are going to pile up. You know, it's going to seem there's more money going out than coming in. But if you
Mm,
look at it positive to where, okay, maybe next year that paradigm can switch. So that was a really good book. And you know, being in the military, I always go back to those World War II leaders.
mm,
You know, one of my mentors before I even knew what a mentor was General George Patton. I love reading anything from Patton. One of the books that I would recommend, and it's probably on a matter of fact, it's on the bookshelf behind me. It's 1 Minute Leadership from George Patton, and it takes famous quotes that he said, and then the author actually breaks it down to where you can put it in a business perspective. So those would be, you know, John Maxwell books. You can never go wrong with that. But there's so many that you can tailor towards where you're at. And a lot of times now, there's times that I'm not sure what to go to. I'll go to AI and ask, what's a good book for? Right now, I'm struggling for X. Give me a good book. And it'll spit out 10, 15 books and then just go and listen to audios or watch. That's, you know, love, not so much reading. I love listening to books.
right, right. Yeah, I spend a lot of time on books and podcasts when I'm driving and when I'm out running and working out and stuff. That's my go-to. I struggle to stay focused on music for very long these days.
Yeah, and it's great because you know, I think the audiobooks have changed the way we can do things because
Oh
you
yeah,
can't read while driving a car.
no,
It's just, I mean, you can. It's just not safe. So you put that audio on. You know, you're sitting doing stuff on your website or you know doing a business something,
hmm,
playing in the background. You're still absorbing the information.
yeah.
So it's a great way to multitask.
Yeah, and as you progress with your podcast and as you get more experienced, you'll be able to copy exactly what I do, which is ask my guests which books they found profound, and then go read them. That's exactly how it is. I've got a shelf up here full of business books, of recommendations, of books that guests have written and sent me, and I never run out of great content because I just ask this question on my show. So you maybe do the same on yours. You'll get all the books you ever need.
Like I'm going to steal that.
No, you may have it. You may have it. Use it like an artist. Just take it.
Absolutely.
Because like the more I get into this, the less I podcast for me. Like I'm
Right.
not really worried about my brand. I'm so fucking blessed. I can't even express it. And so the reason I pour into this content and put you guys out there is so you can help everybody else. Like
Yeah.
just spread a little bit of goodness around, you know?
Yeah, and I think the second part of your question was what would I recommend networking? You
Hmm.
know, I almost sound like a broken record, but really the blocks was a massive networking. The folks there just kind of poured into us and you know
I
fill in.
loved it, man. I
Yeah,
think it's probably one of the best groups I've been fortunate to be a part of, you know?
yeah, it's against one of the military groups that I'm part of. It's right up there.
Hmm.
So that would be the biggest thing of just go to networking things and see find like-minded people because it's a breath of fresh air when you've got someone who says, "Hey, let me help you. I've been in that situation," like you're doing with this. You know, perfect example of been there. Here's a guest who's been there. You can get through this.
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm in shorts. I put my shorts on one leg at a time. I haven't figured out how to levitate into them yet, but we all go through the same struggles. We've been there. So
Yeah.
having a folks be like, "Hey, an even better example. It was 2 months ago when I was first looking into YouTube. Reached out and you took the time to say, "Hey, here's some ideas. Here's some you know, editing software." Having that person that you can go to and say, "Hey, I'm not sure. Oh, I've been there. I got this. I recommend this, this, and this." Networking is massive. I don't think you can only go so far on your own, and the bigger your network is, can just accelerate you to going places that you never thought you could go.
And, you know, that was one of the things that really held me back early on in business was that I had a chip on my shoulder where I thought I could do it all myself, and I didn't build a big business network. I didn't really take business networking seriously. All my network was social, and so I was around people that were fun and were doing fun things. And you know, when you make a little bit of money, that fun escalates. Um, it wasn't really until about 2017, 2018 when I started picking up a coach. First time I ever paid for coaching. I was 38 years old. Up until then, I thought, you know what, I got this. And honestly, coaching and networking has been the best investment I've ever made. You know.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be in a networking group with the military, and one of my mentors I got through that has not only given me knowledge, but has actually poured in legal fees to get things taken care of. So I mean, you just never know who you're going to run into and who can help you where.
And what I found to be true is that the majority of successful people will be nothing but willing to help you, provided you show them you're trying to help yourself. If you're doing the work, and if they give you a list of things to do and you go knock them all out and come back, they'll keep helping you. There's nothing more than success likes than breeding other success.
Iron sharpens iron.
Is that right?
I don't know. It's a saying.
If you bang two swords together, they might get blunt. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard that saying. I'm not really sure. I don't understand the science behind it, but they keep saying iron sharpens iron.
Maybe it does. I don't know. I like that. Yeah. I'm not sure I have anything made out of iron. Anyway.
Some swords.
What's that?
Some swords.
Yeah. So what's this year look like for you, pal? When's your next trade show coming up?
So we just did a 3-day event. I'm sorry, 3 sessions over 2 days. We got another one that's coming up this weekend. And then I actually go to the military mentor session that I was talking about, and you took the words right out of my mouth. Now I am a mentor of, telling folks, hey, I was there. I sat in your chair. I was able to double my business and from year 1 to year 2, and point them to resources. So I'll be doing that, and then we've got a couple weekends off, and we don't really start exploding until spring time frame, and then it's on the go. So we take advantage of this, try to push more onto the website, get that our social media content and stuff rocking and rolling for the year, get that all pre-programmed out, and just once spring hits, we're gonna be like flowers popping up out of the ground and everywhere. So it's a little slow start of the year to get going, but once we go, it's like getting shot out of a cannon.
No, I get it, man. I get it. I know it's going to be a hell of a year for you guys, especially with the TV show coming out and all the additional publicity you can get from that, and the podcast and all the guests you're going to be bringing on. I'm going to ask you a question now that I ask all the guests, John, as we start, getting to the 45 minutes of the show. This show is based around helping people and helping people that are behind us in the life cycle of business, so to speak. If you could have one takeaway to turn around and talk to you right at the beginning, you had the belief in yourself, right? You had the product, you were knowledgeable about it, you were ready to sell it, but if you could give yourself one piece of advice that would carry you forward, what would that be?
Open-minded.
Okay.
So go into this going in, looking at John 2 years ago. You think you're smarter than what you really are. You need to be open-minded. Listen more, speak less. Take in everything that we talked about. Get into more audios, get into more podcasts. Listen more to mentors, and just be a sponge and absorb. Had John today told John that in November of 21, I think I probably could have tripled, quadrupled the business.
That's some sage advice, man.
Open-mindedness and just speak less, listen more.
I wonder why that is. I wonder if that's something about the trait of an entrepreneur that thinks they know what they're doing and maybe is a little bit stubborn when it comes to listening. I think if I could give myself that same advice and maybe listen sooner and not quite be as stubborn. Why do you think that might be? You think we're just geared that way?
No, I think some of it is we can't listen to everything, because if we just listened, how many people would say that's a bad idea? You can't sell beard products.
Dude, everybody says it. Everybody says everything's a bad idea. Like it's like the sky's always falling. Like, don't do that. We're about to be in a recession. I'm like, you know what? Just I got this, yeah.
So I think it's a balancing act of
yeah.
Get into business because you're not listening to all of that, and then it turns into a different perspective of now you need to start taking good in. You know, we all have two. We've got the good guy, bad guy that pop up. You know,
Yeah.
do this, don't do this. It's who do you listen to. And I think that's still the listening. Sometimes it's the negative one, and you're like, okay, this isn't a good idea. And then sometimes you're like, I don't care what the critics say. When I'm on top, tell me I was wrong.
That's how it
Until,
is.
yep.
It's funny you say you got one on the left shoulder and one on the right shoulder. One, the confidence and then the paranoia. I tell them both to shut up and I just do whatever I want. But it took me a long time to understand that though.
Yep, and it's and then being able to do that is because you build all the things that we said. You've got folks that are willing. I know you've got an amazing partner who has your back on everything.
Oh, dude, she's great. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. That's last love. I could tell my wife, we're doing this, and she's like, okay, how do we go about it? What do you need from having that is very, especially because
you're right. You're right. Yeah. Like Nina just says, okay. Like I mean, she trusts me implicitly with the business stuff, and she's fully supportive of whatever it is we do.
I know a lot of people joke around and say behind every successful man is a woman rolling their eyes, but I think that's the complete opposite. Of behind every successful man in business is a strong woman that's there, has their back, and is able to fill in all the other gaps that may fall apart as you're growing a business.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I was good before I met Nina. I was good, but like since I met her, I let go of good. I took a massive gamble, and now things are great. But I wouldn't have. I would have stayed at good for long enough, dude. I was good, man. But the gamble in letting go and the financial worry about stopping two perfectly good businesses to go and create something else with her. But dude, she's had my back from day one. So yeah, she's made a massive difference in my life and in my own confidence and ability to be the small business surgeon full time. I mean, it was all thanks to Nina that I took the leap. So the strong partner is absolute. It's been a game changer for me.
Absolutely.
So yeah, very lucky there. All right, what's next? Shit, I don't know. Well, she listens to the show, so I've got to say nice things about her. Otherwise, she beats me behind the scenes when the cameras are off.
Absolutely.
That's
not. Keep right.
That's not true. That's not true, John. I think, man. I think it's about time to get this interview wrapped up. Before we leave, pal, do you have any last prophetic words of wisdom to give to the audience?
Yeah, just if you believe in yourself, the man that thinks he can and the man that thinks he can't, they're both right. So depending on what side you want to be in. If you think you could do it, damn the critics, damn everybody. You go out and don't let someone steal your dream. Go get it. And just, tie into folks like Sam and listen to podcasts like this and just get fed. Get fed the good stuff.
I love that. I love it. John, where can people who have enjoyed the show find you on the internet and take advantage of all the benefits of becoming one of the Whisker Men?
Yeah, if you look up Whiskerman, MEN, not MAN. MAN is a band. So if you look up Whiskerman, you can find at the bottom of our social media. On most social medias, we're either at Whiskerman or we're at Whiskerman Beard. Come out and watch our stuff, interact with us. We do some pretty good content. And thank you so much for having me on this podcast. I see some things that I need to replicate on mine, and it's a pleasure to chat with you.
Bro, it's been my pleasure, John. Guys, if you have enjoyed what John has got to say today, and if you want to go check out some of his products, run on over to his website, check out Whisker Men. We'll drop the link here in the show notes, and I'm going to talk to him off camera because I may even be able to get you guys a little discount deal for typing in a code. So you'll stay tuned. John, thank you very much for hanging out with us today, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys, that was John Mateki from Whisker Men and the Whisker Men podcast. Please go show him some love. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And as always, I'll be back on Friday with another episode of Friday Fire. You'll be good and stay safe. And you know what? If you can't be good, give me a shout because maybe we can get in trouble. All right, I'll see you guys. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the show for today. Thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed the conversation that we've had and you want to learn a little bit more about the systems and processes involved in running businesses online, join our Facebook group over at FollowSam.live. All right, that's it from me for today. You'll be good, stay safe, and I'll see you next week.